Sweet. Yeah. Okay. Yep, can see. So is this the end of qualifying now? Oh, sorry. Okay. It's like a multi-class grid today. One person in GT4. And Chris Corbin up front with the BMW M6 GT3. Purple in Sector 1 and Sector 3. Half a second off in Sector 2. Could be some trouble through No Name and Pull Off, but you'll see how the splits go for the rest of this qualifying session. Oliver in third. I wonder if that's Dominic Oliver. Very strong driver there. Oliver on the run up to the source. Nice and tidy, using all of the exit to have a good run through Rouge and Rodillon. See if Oliver can improve on P3 so far in qualifying. Just about a minute left of the session. Wonder if anyone else is going to have time for another flying lap. Riding on board with Dominic now. Coming down into Rivage. That characteristic bump on the entry. Very, very tricky corner. Slightly off camp. Oh, gets it a bit squirrely there. So I have time to just settle the rest of his lap. Very difficult corner pull off. Very aggressive on those curbs, using all of the track. Coming into Stavlo now. I wonder if the GT3 cars will be lifting on the exit of this. Fully committed. So the top two have gone into the pits, so that is their session over. Nice and tidy through the bus stop chicane. And across the line. Does it improve on his position? So that is P3 for Dominic Oliver today. Brian Hunt now in the Huracan. See the difference between the front-engined car of Oliver compared to Hunt now. A lot more rotation through the fan just now. on the Lamborghini here. He's working the wheel quite hard. He's pushing, trying to get that P3 or even higher up. It's right on board from the helicopter cam now on with Ryan Hunt. Okay, so there you have it. Very close at the top with Chris Corbin and Rolfsson. Just about 4/10 shy of pole with Oliver Dunn in third. Got Damien Yearwood in sixth, also in a looks like Aston Martin as well. Good to see Damien on the grid. We've got a GT4 as well. Was following in his live stream earlier, looking quite quick. Just listening on to the driver chatter on the start line. Interesting to get into the heads of everyone before the start of the race. It's 40 seconds to the start of the session. So, Brian, is this going to be a sprint race or an endurance? Just talk us through the format today. Okay. Okay. Okay, 45-minute session. I believe there's a mandatory pit stop in there as well. It'll be interesting. Also, on this downhill start, we're getting ready now. 5 seconds to the start grid. Oh, there's a rolling start, okay. Some weaving going on from Chris Corbin up front. I recognize some names in here as well from the Dirt Rally series. So some of these drivers will be switching from lots of rotation and movement to being nice and tidy. So the grid, we've got Corbin from Rolfsson, BMW back to Aston Martin, with Oliver down in third in the Bentley, followed by Hunt, Boudou and Damien Yearwood, and also Omar Boudou as well, also in an Aston Martin. And then we have the Porsche pair of Fredriksson and Rudder. You see Rudder in the pits. I'm not sure if he's got a problem. Hope to see him on the grid. And then we've got in the GT4 version of the Aston Martin. Lovely livery on that GT4 car. Aston has always looked so composed as well. So the track temperature is optimum at the moment, 28 degrees, 21 degrees air temp. Not much wind speed at the moment, so we should see some pretty quick opening laps on this first stint on this set of tires. Interesting to see what people play in terms of strategy before the first pit stop. coming off the back of Le Mans 24 Hour, it's good to see more than 3 manufacturers in this race today, with BMW and Bentley joining the party. So Rudder and Demyshat look like they're in the pit, so I wonder if they'll be starting from pit lane today. Yep. So it seems as if Rudder may be doing some setup changes to make it to the grid. There is a drive option when you're on the start line, so maybe he opted out of that or didn't realize that. So those two will be starting from the pit lane. See Rudder here in the neon green Porsche, just doing some final changes before the start of the race. So he'll be looking to probably go longer on his first stint, try and take the fight back up to the front runners. Oliver looking racy alongside Rolfsson, keeping the gap really close. And through the bus stop chicane, Louis trying to get a good exit out of here, not too much wheel spin to line up for La Source. And there we go. Everyone just slotting into their position. I'll do. Yeah. So we're going to stick with the helicopter cam for the opening session, at least until the run through Lecombe and Malmedy. Be careful not to jump the start. Got a perfect view of the start finish straight here, and
green light, go.
And Rolfsson gets the run on Chris Corbin and opens the door through for Olivier. Too wide, surely not going to work through there. And around the outside, Ryan Hunt takes Chris Corbin on the outside of Radillon. That was a very ballsy move there. Olivier right in the back of the toe from Rolfsson. He pulls out the toe to try and get the run through Lecombe. Everyone giving plenty of racing room there. This is very exciting on the first lap. Rolfsson ahead of Olivier from Hunt, and Chris Corbin's dropped back. Characteristic bump on the inside of Ravage. Swishing it back through non-M. Very difficult corner to get on the opening lap with cold tyres. Slightly on the Astro there with Chris Corbin riding on board with him now. Chris looked very quick during qualifying, so he'll be looking to just settle his head to take the fight back to the top 3. The 45 minutes, long race ahead. So some management will start to play in once the grid starts to spread out a bit. So we've got a stop-go penalty for Rudder. We'll get an update on that shortly. So he's back out on the pit lane. He's coming across the Camel Straight, but he's quite a ways behind, so he's definitely have to hope for some strategy miracles to get back in the fight. Hunt being very defensive on Corbin and Jamal Boudou. And it seems like Rolfsson has already checked out. Chris Corbin just having a slight glance. Oh, very, very late lunge there from Boudou. And that seems to have spooked Chris Corbin. He's run wide. Boudou might get the run on him going up through Eau Rouge. Let's see how this pans out. Chris Corbin slips back ahead. Very, very good racing between the two of them. It's good to see respect amongst the drivers, although it is very, very fierce here on track. And Chris Corbin is very, very late on the brakes, and Boudou almost follows him. Hunt just watching this, seeing, oh, we've got contact. It looked like Corbin and Hunt came together just on the exit of Malmedy. Looks like one got wide on the Astro. That is a game changer. I bet Damien Yearwood would have been looking at this with hungry eyes for positions. Everyone treating this endurance race more like a sprint. We've got Yearwood and Boudou with Fredrickson not far behind. Looks to be about a second between each of the three of them. This is going to be interesting. Damien going just a bit defensive, going into the run up to Stavelo. Back on board with Rolfson up front. So the gap back to Oliver is 1.8 seconds. So Oliver is just keeping him honest so far. We'll see if that gap maintains between then and when the tyres start to go off. Very tidy fuel source there from Oliver in the Bentley. Rudder's back in the pits again. I wonder if he has some issues with the car. Closely followed by Damien Yearwood. Who's currently in third. Going up the inside of Omar Boudou. Will he get the move pulled off? Lots of racing room there. He's on the outside, which is going to give him a bit of track limits there from Ryan Hunt. But he makes it, and he's now up to 5th place, it looks like. Good move there. Now this gap between Jamar Boudou and Damien Yearwood is fluctuating a lot throughout the lap. So clearly one car has a setup for set to 2, whereas the other car is set up for the top line speed at the end of Kennel Straight. So we'll see how that pans out at the end of going into the fan. On board with Chris Corbin now, looking at the fight between Omar Boudou and Ryan Hunt. Too wide through that pair of corners. Looking very, very racy today. Chris Corbin's got a lovely toe. Could he get a double toe going into the bus stop chicane? Very clever blocking there from Boudou. Just getting slightly wide going into Blanchimont. It caused a little bit of wake going over Chris Corbin's BMW M6. Ryan Hunt goes wide and collects Boudou in the process, and that hands the position back to Chris Corbin. So it looks like stewards are investigating Ryan Hunt for that contact in bus stop chicane. as well as the incident on the opening lap, well, on lap 2 with Chris Corbin. So this is going to be decision pending. Okay, so it's drive-through penalty for Ryan Hunt. He'll be kicking himself for that, but it's still a long race ahead. Anything can happen here today at Spa-Francorchamps, as we all know. Olivier on the run on the outside of Ravage. Brave. Millimeters apart between the two of them. A little bit of contact there. Olivier will come right back. Bit of you scratch my back, I scratch yours there, and Oliver goes through on the exit of No Name. Right on board now with Rolfson to see if he can stay within that 1 second window. Both getting very, very wet on the marbles there. The Aston seems to be quicker in a straight line compared to the Bentley. Not to mention with an added toe now coming out of Blanchimont. And the gap closes right back up on the brakes. Oliver will want to just hang back on the apex to unsettle the car behind before getting back on the throttle again. Brilliant racecraft by these two up front. So on the helicam, let's watch on board as they go up through Eau Rouge and Rodillon. And we'll see the effect of the toe going across the Kemmel Straight. These cars look so composed going through Rodillon. That's almost a 4-story climb. Ryan Hunt now coming through for his drive-through penalty, down to 7th, but still has an opportunity to make some positions up. So let's just pull up the deltas between drivers here. So we've got Marboudou 5.5 behind Rolfson, so the front two have checked out. Damien, you're keeping the pressure on. 2.8 behind Boudou in the sister car, Aston Martin V8 Vantage, but Chris Corbin will be hot on the heels. He's now 1.5 seconds behind Damien, so Chris Corbin looking racy out there again. He's already closed right up on the back of Damien now. Using all of the Astra runoff there. Chris Corbin getting every inch of track, and he's now right on the heels of Damien. You'll see the Aston driver going defensive coming out of Blanchimont. Taking that inside line, forcing Chris wide, compromising his line slightly. Lovely exit out of the chicane there from Chris Corbin. Is he going to try and go on the outside? He's looking for the switch back. It looks like he's got the move done. That's Chris Corbin up to 4th. You get the feeling here though that Damien is just playing the long game with the tyres, letting the tyres come back to him later on in the stint. So back up front, Oliver and Rollison still duking it out. Less than a second between them. Racing lines very, very similar. Rollison just using a bit of the Astra on the exit there. There's not much separating these two drivers here today. There's all to play for. Six-tenths between the top two. And the gap to third has maintained as well. So the top three looking to be similar pace. And it looks like Chris Corbin is the fastest person on track at the moment. Chris has 4.2 to make up on P3 position. Considering he started on pole, that he'll probably make short work of that. Here now with Ina de Malchak in the GT4, following Damien Euro. It looks like Damien may have had an issue. Riding on board now with Ina here in the GT4. Strong showing, following her live stream earlier. Very, very good pace. Okay, so it seems that Ina's a lap down. Nice and tidy going into La Source, picking the braking point. Multi-class event today, so just getting out of the way of the GT3 drivers. And that looks like Fredriksson and Boudou coming through. Fredriksson, the leader of the two Porsche cars. Okay, so we're showing a couple laps down from Fredriksson. Maybe they had an issue early on. Moves over to let Boudou through. And Rudder is now going through Radion onto Kemmel Straight. A bit wide there, track limits. I'm sure stewards won't take much notice of that, as you probably have up to 3, I believe, goes at track limits before penalties have started to be incurred. So back up front now with Rollison. It seems like Oliver's had an issue. He's dropped back down to P3, promoting Jamal Boudou up to second position. Riding in on board now with the cockpit cam with Dominic Oliver. A little bit squirrely there on the exit curb of Stavelo. Keeping it composed though. We'd love to see racing drivers making adjustments throughout the lap. Maybe some brake balance there going into the bus stop chicane. He had a glance, but just backing out of it, just being sensible. Boudou goes a bit wide on the exit of La Source. Surely that's going to give some momentum to Oliver. The gap will stay the same. These Astons are looking incredible in a straight line. Well, this is going to be an interesting battle into Lacombe. Oliver pulls out the toe and they're side by side. Aston just getting ahead again. When Boudou goes wide, he locks it up, gets his braking all crossed up, and that brings Chris Corbin back into the place. So we've now got a three-way battle for second place. Chris Corbin has just joined the fight for second place, everyone. So through No Name, nice and tidy. Everyone's staying well off the entry curb to right-hander of Lefant. That tends to unsettle the car quite a lot, so everyone just picking their line sensibly. Lovely day today at Spa-Francorchamps. 21 degrees air temperature, perfect for the car's track temperature, not too high either. That should influence the tyre strategy. I imagine drivers will be going slightly longer than they would have planned. So we're here with Damien Yearwood going into bus stop chicane. Damien's in a comfortable 5th at the moment. We won't want to be taking too many liberties with the tyres. Gap has stabilised back to 6th. And the 3 ahead, duking it out, could potentially bring him back into play. So Damien's in a perfect chance for a podium here today at Spa. We will just be restarting the stream momentarily. They're back on board. Chris Corbin is finding it a bit difficult to get past Jamal Boudou. He's not an easy one to pass up there. Those Astons look to be lightning fast in a straight line as well. Yep. So Rollifson out front comfortably in his V8 Vantage GT3. Interesting seeing a wider line from him going into La Source. Maybe just looking after the tyres a little bit. The gap is 5 seconds back to Olivier. Chris Corbin has indeed taken P3. Looks like he took it going into the bus stop chicane just when we switched to Rollifson's camera. We're on board now with Boudou again, following Chris Corbin up through Eau Rouge into Radillon. You see that gap start to close in again with the tow. Slight weave across Camel Straight just to break the tow up a little bit. Oliver is still in sight, so this is still a three-way battle. body language of the Astons today just looks so composed. Slight mistake there from Boudou, but he'll recover quickly.
We are halfway through, not over yet.
Looks like the pit stop window will be opening soon. This is where all the strategy will be unfolded. Who is going to dive into the pits? And Damien Yearwood has been into the pits, so he's the first to make the move. Hunt is also in the pits as well. This could be drive-through penalty being served. Rudder in 10th. He's slow into the pits. Hopefully he doesn't have any issues. It's a long pit lane today, so it'll be interesting to see the gap after the pit stops. Rolfson opting to stay out, as well as Oliver and Chris Corbin. All systems go so far for the top 4. Purdue still keeping Corbin honest. Very, very, very late lunge. Corbin opened the door. Prevent any contact. Corbin saw the move coming. That was a very opportunistic lunge there. Looks like Damien Yearwood has a stop-go penalty for speeding in the pits. So he will have to take another trip through the pit lane before the end of the race. This battle between Corbin and Boudou for P3 is looking very spicy indeed. BMW seems to have the edge on the middle sector, but doesn't quite have the legs in a straight line. When he's into the barriers, that looked like a very, very hard hit. So that looks like Boudou has retired, going off on the exit of No Name. Very, very tricky corner. Chris Corbin now has some breathing room. Oliver is now back within a second of Rolfson, so he seems to be reeling him back in. Oliver is ahead of Rolfson. This race keeps changing leaders every other lap. This is going to be very, very tight. See who makes the first dive into the pit lane. Okay, so Rolfson has gone into the pit lane, trying the undercut on Oliver. Chris Corbin also opting to stay out, following Dominic Oliver. These two had some very, very good battles before in the Dirt Rally Championship. Two very, very quick drivers. Bouncing over that entry curb to Eau Rouge. Very brave going up the hill. So we have a bit of breathing room here now. Just looking at the track map. So Oliver just going down to Rivage and Chris Corbin exiting Malmedy. So whoever makes the jump first could potentially have the leapfrog over the other in the pit stop. So this race, with the two of them looking fairly evenly matched, this race could come down to strategy calls between the Bentley and the BMW. Rolfson just coming up the pits now. Using the old pit lane. So this has promoted Omar Boudou up to 3rd. But still with a pit stop to go. Everyone is kind of settled into their positions at the moment. We'll see if Oliver comes into the pits now. And he does. So that is the reaction to Rolfson's earlier pit. Chris Corbin following him as well. So equal strategies. This will have to come down to outright pace on track. And this is now turning into a very exciting sprint race to the finish. Rolfson's tyres now up to temperature, with the pair of Oliver and Corbin coming out on cold tyres, but fresher. Wonder if this will bring Omar Boudou back into the mix if he's going to be doing a very, very late pit stop. He'll be coming across now to the F1 start-finish straight, going across into La Source, so he passes them officially now. Body language of that car not showing much signs of rotation, so he looks to be under control of the tyres. Rolfson out there in 4th, quite a ways back, but this is a long pit window, remember. Now it looks like Hunt going past, and it seems that Oliver may have had issues in the pit, so Chris Corbin has just leapfrogged Oliver for effective lead of the race. Although Boudou is still out there in 1st, with a pit stop still left to go. There's a mandatory pit stop, remember. So Boudou, Fredriksson, Rudder, and the GT4 of Aina de Melchak are still left to pit in this race. Mandatory pit stop, remember. So that will be playing into the strategy. Aina up to 7th in the GT4. Good showing from her. Oliver still in the pits. Hopefully that's not a retirement. Chris Corbin just rejoining the track now. Riding on board with him now and see how these tyres fare on the first flying lap. Track temperature has just cooled by 1 degree. So that should give the drivers fighting room to the end. 14 minutes left of this race. Looks like a bit of understeer through Ravage, but that's expected on cold tyres. Okay, so Rolfson is ahead of Chris Corbin, it seems. It's 13 seconds between the two. But Chris Corbin is on a fresher set of tyres, fresher by 1.5 laps roughly. And Chris Corbin did put it on pole ahead of Rolfson by 4/10, so he's going to have a hard time trying to make up 13 seconds. That's going to be a second a lap roughly to do it. Well, it's going to need to be more than that a lap to do it in the remaining time. He's got his work cut out for him. Omar Boudou's just come into the pit serving his mandatory pit stop. So he's going to lose out to Rolfson, who will retake the lead now. Chris Corbin just coming through the bus stop chicane, so he'll drop down to P3 at best. Still a good showing. On board with Ryan Hunt now. Very, very good recovery from him. Going through Malmedy now. It's the roar of the V10. The only V10 on the track today. Just listen to it as it goes through these trees. Got through the brakes, back down again through Prudhomme. Taking a bit of dive on the front to get the car to turn in. Mid-engine car, remember. That looks like there's a car ahead of Ryan Hunt, just out of eye shot, but that could be Chris Corbin. It looks like it was Chris Corbin, so this is going to be very interesting with Ryan Hunt closing the gap to Chris Corbin, as well closing the gap to Rolfsson. It's 13.4 seconds between the top two. Okay, so the timing sheet showed that Ryan Hunt is actually a lap down, although he's just behind Corbin on track. So Rolfsson, Corbin and Omar Boudou are the only ones left on the lead lap. Olivier has not rejoined the race. It seems like he has retired. So that is very, very unfortunate for him. He's looking very racy today. Omar Boudou rejoining in that third position, as we mentioned. He looks comfortably set for P3 today. 13.9 seconds between the top two. Gap just opening up slightly. Corbin will have to hope for a mistake from Rolfsson today. Up to that 4-story climb of Eau Rouge and Rodillon. Flats to in 6th, getting ready for Lecombe. Awesome section of track. Very, very tidy across the curbs as well. Here now with Damien Yearwood sitting in 5th quite comfortably. It's where he was before pit stop. Unfortunate having that stop-go penalty for him. He settled into 5th place. Nice and safely through No Name corner. Very, very wide there through, you know. Coming to drop. Lots of understeer is experiencing today. Having to drop 2 gears through that corner. He's having to wrestle the car. Maybe could be making some changes on the wheel to bring the front end back to him. Back with Rolfsson. So his best lap, 220.6. His last lap, just 2/10 shy of that. But Chris Corbin is bringing the gap back down now to 13.3. So it's a massive seesaw between the two of them, but it's stabilizing around that 13-second mark. So the top two look to be evenly matched for the most part. So the gap between them is roughly the length of the F1 start-finish straight between bus stop chicane and La Source. Chris Corbin just exiting La Source now. Rollerson just entering Rouge. That is Ina Demashat coming out of pit exit now during her pit stop. She should come out in 6th still. Very, very good showing from them in the Aston GT4 spec car. Our timing sheets are showing Ryan Hunt in 3rd at the moment. So it seems Udo has had an issue. He's in the pit lane again. So we don't seem to have any penalties for Budu, so that looks genuinely like an issue. Corbin just clearing Earwood. Swinging right and then left through Lafan. This next right-handed, very tricky corner, gravel trap on the outside. It's very, very intimidating. Blue flags there as everyone clears Fredriksson in the 911. Although Yearwood is a lap behind Chris Corbin, these cars right now seem to be fairly evenly matched. Corbin doesn't seem to be pulling ahead of Yearwood rapidly, so the gap now down to 11.4 between the top two. Looks like it's just shy of 3 minutes left of this race. I get the sneaky feeling that Chris Corbin is running out of time, but he's aggressive, attacking those curves going over the top of Radion. He's hungry for this win today. Slight tailwind going up the Kemmel Straight, that will help him. Super quick through Lacombe just now. Car looks to be absolutely glued to the track. It's excellent racecraft from him. Riding on board with him now through Couillon. The gap now down to 10 seconds. Well, this is going to be a very, very interesting finish. It's just so satisfying following on board a bumper cam on a GT3 car, especially around Spa-Francorchamps. Tidy and composed through the bus stop chicane for Verd Rolfsson. Gets a very, very good exit, not even using the exit curve. Very interesting line through La Source. He seems to be taking it much wider than everyone else. Probably to give him a better run up through Eau Rouge. That gap is coming down even closer now. Chris Corbin's last lap was a 2:20.2. It's 2/10 off the fastest lap of the race. Yeah, now down to 9.6. Two and a half minutes left to play. Damien Year is up to 4th. Safely through the cone. Into Malmedy using the exit curb. Nicely done. Chris Corbin just getting his head down now. Rollerson is just coming into eye shot through his cockpit. Little bit of understeer there from Chris Corbin, but keeping it well under wraps. Was very deep into the bus stop chicane. So this looks like the final lap now. And that mistake would have cost him some time going into the bus stop chicane. This is the final lap around Spa-Francorchamps here today with CSM Caribbean Sim Motorsport. Got Rolifson from Corbin with Hunt in 3rd in Lamborghini Huracan GT3. Absolutely flying over those curves. Gap down to 7.7, but I'm afraid he's run out of time. Will he sneak in the fastest lap? His best lap is 2:20.037. No name for the final time for Rolifson in the Aston. Millimeter perfect through Pounon. Just running to the edge of the exit curb, but not catching the Astro at all. Sure, we're showing a penalty, a stop goal for Fredrickson and a drive through for Jamal Boudou. Unfortunate on the last lap of the race. So that may hand 6th place back to the GT4 driver. You're just getting out the way of Rolfson. We're on the bus stop chicane for the final time.
The leader has finished the race.
And that is the end of the race here today at Spa-Francorchamps. So Rolifson has won over Chris Corbin, and it looks like Ryan Hunt will be coming in 3rd. After that opening lap tussle with Chris Corbin. So this takes some time to finalize the results here. So Ryan Hunt just finishing his lap. Obviously, he would have been a lap down, so a bit out of sequence, but he is indeed P3 today. I wonder if he'll be trying for a cheeky last lap, fastest lap of the race. The whole of a V10 is just glorious. The mid-corner corrections as well. He's working the wheel quite hard. Gave us a bit of a scare there in the commentary box on the exit of that one. Lamborghini seems to rotate a lot more than the other cars, particularly the front engine cars as well. That may play into Ryan Hunt's driving style a bit. It's having to be quite busy on the wheel, it seems. Last run through bus stop chicane. And that is the end. 4.5 seconds at the end between Rollifson and Chris Corbin. That was a very, very stellar final stint. Ryan Hunt a lap down in third, just crossing the line now. Damien Yearwood in fourth.
Green line, give it all you can.
So there you have it, ladies and gentlemen. That has been Spa, brought to you by Caribbean Sim Motorsport. We see you at the next one.